A very pleasant morning to everyone. Every new day is a blessing from the hand of God, and we are called to make use of every opportunity that God unfolds in and through the 24 hours that is placed before us as a gift. Since He is the giver and we are just a recipient of this great blessing of a new day and a new life filled with new hope, let us invoke the blessing of God so that we may do things that pleases Him. Kindly close your eyes and join me in prayer. A student's prayer. Lord of light and wisdom, thank you for giving me a mind that can know and a heart that can love. Help me to keep learning every day, no matter what the subject is, for all knowledge leads to you. Encourage me when the studies are hard and when I am tempted to give up. Enlighten me when my brain is low, and let me grasp the truth held out to me. Amen. We are living in a world of uncertainties. We live among people who are very negative about life. We live among people who have no values, who have no foresight about the well being of the other human person in the society. So, in the midst of such negativity and uncertainty, it's good to feed our minds with a positive thought at the beginning of a new day. I would like to quote a saying from the great poet and the philosopher Shakespeare. Shakespeare said, I always feel happy. You know why? Because I don't expect anything from anyone. Expectations always hurt. Life is short, so love your life, be happy, and keep smiling. Just live for yourself, and before you speak, listen. Before you write, think. Before you spend, earn. Before you pray, forgive. Before you hurt, feel. Before you hate, love. Before you quit, try. Before you die, live. I would like to read the quotation once again. Shakespeare said, I always feel happy. You know why? Because I don't expect anything from anyone. Expectations always hurt. Life is short, so love your life, be happy, and keep smiling. Just live for yourself, and before you speak, listen. Before you write, think. Before you spend, earn. Before you pray, forgive. Before you hurt, feel. Before you hate, love. Before you quit, try. Before you die, live. Having fed our mind with a beautiful thought from Shakespeare, it is good to widen our thinking today. It is good to learn something new every day, thus making ourselves capable in this competitive world. And for that, your general knowledge plays a very vital role, and therefore you need to keep yourself abreast of all that is happening. Today I would like to place before you some piece of information on the language called English literature. Before I expose the findings that might enlighten you, I would like to ask you a question. Do you speak English? And most of you might answer me, yes, Father, we speak English. It is not enough to speak English. You have to speak English which is good, which is appealing, which has got mastery. As English has become a global language, it has become a means of attraction to win a greater possibility for your future. And therefore, let's learn more about English. Hope you're ready to join me in this little journey. There are certain languages with the most native speakers. And to your surprise and to my surprise, Mandarin is a language spoken in China. It is spoken by 908 million people. Mandarin. Spanish is the next, spoken by 442 million people. English is the third highest, 378 million people. Fourth is Hindi with 329 million people, followed by Portuguese, followed by Arabic, which is spoken by 290 million people, followed by Bengali, which is spoken by 243 million people, followed by Portuguese, which is spoken by 223 million people, followed by Russian, which is spoken by 154 million people, followed by Punjabi in Indian language, spoken by 140 million people, and finally Japanese is spoken by 128 million people. And therefore English holds the third spot among languages with the most native speakers. An English Language Day is commemorated or celebrated on 23rd April of every year. And therefore 23rd of April we celebrate English Language Day. Since we are in a journey trying to learn English, it is good to know the importance of English language globally in the world level. Languages are important in the life of any nation. The members of a social group need language to communicate with each other for all social purposes, for public administration, for commerce and industry, for education and so on. Ours is a country with multilingual, multicultural and pluralistic milieu. Social aspirations can best be fulfilled when they are allowed to function through the mother tongue. Therefore, it is natural to think of mother tongue for the purpose of education. But the necessity to have a common language for interaction has led to the learning of English. The English language is a powerful force, not just for economics, business and trade, but for mutual respect and progress. It is also becoming the common future of human commerce and communication. English is the best tool to provide good opportunity for the learner to learn. This is also the language of instruction in all the universities and colleges across the country, across the globe. The scenario is such that one needs to polish the skills of English to obtain a job. Mere knowledge of subjects is no more the only criteria to secure a job in today's date. With the growing globalization, one must definitely be able to communicate in English and should have a good knowledge vocabulary if one wants to go across the country for educational or job purposes. Thus, a foreign language, English, occupies a unique position in the Indian educational system. Even after independence, it continues to be a major language, having a prestigious position in our society. English is important because it is an international language. It is an official language of administration. It is a language of court. It's a language of international trade and industry. It is a language of our social life. It is a language which acts as a window on the modern world. It's a language which is considered to be a link language. It is called a library language. English is a very powerful language used in media, and English is one of the most effective mode of language in our educational system. I began my exposition on the language English with a question, do you speak English? And I told you invariably all of you will answer, yes, Father, I speak English. But the way we speak is not enough. If you and I have to survive in this competitive world in which language English is gaining greater prominence, greater importance, we need to polish our language. We need to learn English every minute, every day. We need to improve our vocabulary and become masters in the way we pronounce, in the way we articulate, in the way we narrate, in the way we elaborate, in the way we explain things in English. Therefore, I exhort you that you learn English, that you speak good English. Now we shall get along with our academic focus. We have completed 2 units from the book The First Flight, and we also completed 2 stories from the supplementary reader. So having completed 2 units from the book First Flight, we shall move on to the unit 3, chapter 3, titled 2 Stories About Flying. And these 2 stories about flying comprises of 2 parts, namely his first flight by Liam O'Flaherty. The second one is The Black Aeroplane by Frederick Forsyth. But today we shall learn about the first part of the 2 stories about flying, namely his first flight by Liam O'Flaherty. It is good to begin to understand a particular lesson or the prose with the help of understanding the author, the one who is responsible for the piece of work. I told you his first flight is written by Liam O'Flaherty. You can look at his images when he was young, when he is in the middle age, and when he is in a very old. He was born in the year 1896 and he died in 1984. And he was born to a large poor family on Anishmore, one of the islands, rocky Aran Islands. But he took inspiration from the peasant life of the Aran Islands in his writings. So his birth and place and parents, Liam O'Flaherty was born on August 28, 1896 in Anishmore Island to Leroy O'Flaherty and Janet Emmegett O'Flaherty. Regarding education, it is 1908. At the age of 12, he attended one of the 3 different colleges. The first is called Rockwell, followed by enrollments to Holy Cross and University College Dublin, and according to Sunday Times, it was said he also attended Belvedere College and Blackrock College. He never attended any of the earlier 2 schools for long. Among his studies, he took up the study of religion. And had intended on joining the priesthood. Regarding military life in 1917, he left school and joined the Irish Guards Regiment of the British Army. During this time, he fought in World War I and was injured. He also suffered from a barrage of attacks by the enemy, which led to a battle with shell shock. 2 days after the establishment of the Irish Free State in 1922, O'Flaherty and a group of supporters seized a building in Dublin for 4 days, flying a red flag from it. In 1933, he suffered from a mental illness, which most believed to be a result of the shock suffered in World War I. Liam O'Flaherty was an Irish novelist and short story writer, whose works combine brutal naturalism, psychological analysis, poetry, and biting satire with an abiding respect for the courage and persistence of the Irish people. He was considered to be a leading figure of the Irish Renaissance. Liam O'Flaherty abandoned his training for the priesthood and embarked on a varied career as a soldier in World War I and an international wanderer in South America, Canada, the United States, and the Middle East. He labored in such occupations as lumberjack, hotel porter, miner, factory worker, dishwasher, bank clerk, and deckhand. After taking part in revolutionary activities in Ireland, O'Flaherty settled in England in 1922. He returned to Dublin in the middle of 1920s. And his books include Thy Neighbour's Wife, written in 1923, his successful first novel. The second, The Black Soul, was written in 1924. It is the story of a tormented former soldier who seeks tranquility on a remote Western Isle. The third book was written, titled The Informer, in 1925, and this was adapted as an Oscar-winning film by John Ford in 1935. It is about a confused revolutionary who betrays his friend during the Irish troubles. The next one is Skerrit, written in 1932, a critically acclaimed story of a conflict between a parish priest and a teacher. Another book titled Famine, written in 1937, which speaks about a recreation of the effect of the Irish famine of the 1840s on the individuals of a small community. Another book titled Short Stories, written in 1937, which was edited in 1956. And one more famous book titled Insurrection, written in 1950. It's a novel dealing with the Easter Rising of 1916. The next book is Peddler's Revenge and Other Stories, written in 1976, as well as several other novels and collections of short stories. His autobiography is titled as Shame the Devil, which was published in 1934. Now you can look at some of the books that I had read to you in the form of pick, so that you get a better understanding. And these are the important works of Liam O'Flaherty. The bird that you are looking at is called a seagull. What is the meaning of this seagull? It means a bird that lives near the sea and has short legs, long wings, and white and grey feathers. That is why it is called seagull. And seagull is going to be the hero of the lesson that we are going to see. And therefore, have a look at certain pictures of seagull. Seagull, as human persons, we live in a family. They also live in a family. You can see the picture of a father, mother with, could be a daughter, could be a son. And in the story that we have, there are two brothers and one sister for the seagull, the real hero of the story. It is a story of a family, how when one child is daunted or possessed with fear, the entire family plays a role to remove fear and make and instill courage, so that it discovers its own potentiality, which is innate, which is inborn in seagull. So before we enter into the lesson, let me explain to you the theme of the lesson. The first flight is a sensitive account of a young seagull who is afraid to fly. Despite several attempts, he remains fearful of the prospect, till his mother tricks him into jumping off his ledge. Seized by a monstrous fear at first, the seagull is able to spread out its wings and fly in no time. So the story contains a truth of life, that very often it is fear that holds us back from success. I repeat, the story contains a truth of life, that very often it is fear that holds us back from success. We may be capable of doing many things which we admire in others, but we think we can't do them because we are afraid of failure. Here the mother seagull recognizes this and so tricks the young seagull into jumping. Once the seagull has taken the plunge, he forgets his fear and flies effortlessly. In order to understand this particular prose better, his first flight, Let me give you the summary of this particular lesson. His first flight is an endearing story of a family of seagulls. The young seagull is afraid to fly and off the ledge on the cliff. His two brothers and his little sister, too, had flown away the day before. But when he had neared the edge, the height of the cliff and the great expanse of the sea beneath it had made him run back to the safety of the hole where he slept at night. His parents had called out to him, scolded him, even threatened to starve him on his ledge unless he flew away. But the young seagull could not muster the courage to fly. All day he watched his parents perfecting the flight of his brothers and sister, teaching them how to skim the waves and dive for fish. They taunted him and would not come near him. It had been 24 years. It has been 24 hours and he had not eaten anything. He was famished. Then he saw his mother tearing a piece of fish. The sight of food maddened him and he begged her to be given to give her food. He begged her to give him food. At first, she ignored him. Then, to his sheer joy, she flew towards him with the fish, but stopped just inches away, dangling the fish tantalizingly in front of him. Unable to hold himself back, he dived for the fish and in the process jumped off the ledge. For a moment he was seized by terror, but before he knew it, his wings had spread themselves out and he was flying. His mother and father flew around him screaming. His brothers and sister pranced and frolicked around him. The young seagull forgot his fear of flying and soared and dived, shrieking shrilly. There are 5 significant stages in this story called his first flight. The first stage is the seagull is at once afraid and desperate to fly. How do we understand this particular stage? The vast expanse of the sea underneath and the height of the ledge combine to fill him with self-doubt. His desperation is caused by 2 factors. First, he is away from his family. Second, he has not eaten since the previous night. The second significant stage in this particular story is this. His mother entices him with the sight of food. What does this mean? The seagull is maddened by the sight of his mother tearing at a piece of fish. He is now closer to overcoming his fear, but still hopes his mother will save him the effort by bringing him the fish herself. And what is the third stage, significant stage in the story? His mother flies near him with the fish but refuses to come any further. What happens in this stage? Seagull is maddened by hunger and unable to contain himself any longer, and the seagull dives at the fish and thereby falls off the cliff. And the fourth stage, he makes his first flight. For a minute he is seized by a monstrous fear and his heart stands still. But the next moment his wings spread out and he soars in the sky. And the final stage, the fifth stage, he overcomes his fear of the sea. This happens unintentionally. As he lands on the surface of the sea, he is again filled with fear and attempts to fly away. But he is too tired and weak with hunger to do so. He lets his feet sink into the sea and find himself floating. So these are the 5 significant stages in the story. So today I just began the lesson explaining to you about the author of the lesson, Liam O. Flaherty. I gave you a lot of details about him because only when we understand the author, we'll be able to understand his writing. And I introduced the theme of the lesson, his first flight. I gave you a summary And I also highlighted the significant stages in the story, 5 of them, namely the seagull is at once afraid and desperate to fly. Second, his mother entices him with the sight of food. Third, his mother flies near him with a fish but refuses to come any further. Fourth, he makes his first flight, and the final stage, he overcomes his fear of the sea. Now we shall move on to the next stage. So, having seen about the author, Liam O'Flaherty, having seen the theme, the summary, and the significant stages in the story, I shall explain about the lesson systematically tomorrow. And now it's time to evaluate what we have learned today. And let me pose certain questions for your evaluation to check whether you have followed the lesson, whether you have understood the teaching of the day. First, when do we celebrate the English Language Day? Question number 2, which Indian language has most native speakers? Question number 3, what was the field of interest for Liam O'Flaherty? Question number 4, the story contains the truth of life, that very often it is dash that holds us back from the dash. Fifth and final question, who enticed the seagull with the sight of food? Who enticed the seagull with the sight of food? So take your time, answer the questions, and I'm sure you will find answers easily, as the lesson is very simple. So we have seen number of things today. I presented to you or exposed, I gave an exposition on the importance of English language in the global scenario. And I gave you many factors and many reasons why learning English, speaking good English, enriching our vocabulary is vital in order to survive in this competitive arena, in this global prominent language called English. And later on I moved on to explain to you the prose, his first flight. I explained to you about the author, Liam O'Flaherty, and later on I gave you the theme of the lesson, I gave you the summary of the lesson, and I gave you the significant stages of the lesson. I'm sure the class was beneficial, and with this background we'll be able to understand the lesson proper tomorrow. So thanks a lot for your patient listening. God bless you. Goodbye until we meet tomorrow.